Yo, what's up, family? Just another day in the life of a nobody. Reaction edition. And today I'm doing the war in London. Active Gang. 71st versus 51st. My boy just dropped this today on Hip Hop Daily, you know what I'm saying? So we finna go ahead and get into this, man, you know what I'm saying? I know a little bit about the story, but not everything, you know what I'm saying? I just know about two C's that got murdered. H, a M, a P, it was a couple other names, but yeah. Let's get into this, man.
The drill scene has exposed the world to all kinds of crimes going on in the streets of London. One of the deadliest beefs is an ongoing war between two gangs in the borough of Camden, Active Gang and 51st. Let's take a closer look at what's going on. Camden is an area in North London outside of the Regent's Park. It's considered one of London's most modern neighborhoods, and many famous celebrities live there. But over the past few years, it's become a battleground in a war between two gangs. Unlike the US, London don't have as many large national gangs like the Crips and Bloods. Instead, they have small local gangs that are based in certain neighborhoods and often identify themselves by the local postcode. These gangs are also often tied to the local drill scene, and many include popular rappers as members. The main beef in Camden is between two neighborhood gangs, Active Gang and 51st. Active Gang is a group made up of primarily Somali immigrants based in the Acre Grove.
Somali. Oh, that's from Africa. Y'all told me about that, family. Somalis. That's how you pronounce the word. Oh, I did not know how to pronounce that shit.
Drill scene, and many include popular rappers as members. The main beef in Camden is between two neighborhood gangs, Active Gang and 51st. Active Gang is a group made up of primarily Somali immigrants based in the Acre Grove estate in Camden. Several popular drill rappers are part of Active Gang, including artists like Suspect, Too Smoky, and T-Scam. They're also allied with other local gangs like FSG.
Dang, you gonna forget Broad Day, bro? Swavy, but Broad Day been dropping some fire lately. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy.
Camden. Several popular drill rappers are part of Active Gang, including artists like Suspect, Too Smoky, and T-Scam.
Okay, I would have redid that too, though. I would have said Too Smoky first, you know what I'm saying? Then Suspect, then T-Scam. I ain't gonna lie, that would have been just me, you know? That's how I would have did it. Cause one dude was telling me like, oh, Too Smoky better than Suspect. I know, bro. I say this every time. Like, Too Smoky definitely is the better rapper, bro, of the two. But the Suspect is my guy. I'm just saying. I'm sticking with my boy regardless. But yeah, I did. If I would have said the names, I would have had to say the best first, you know what I'm saying, which would have been Too Smoky, because that nigga go hard.
Yeah. They're also allied with other local gangs like FSG, CT1, and NRB. Together, they call themselves 71st. 51st is an alliance of several different groups that are all known.
Oh, so that's what that means. I already know 51st is with Boom, QC, and then Crimson. I don't know how to say the fucking shit right. But yeah, I know that's what all make 51st, I think.
On the beef with Active Gang, they include the Peckwater Gang from the Peckwater Estate, the QC Gang from Queens Crescent, and Cumbo, a gang from the Regent Park Estate and Cumberland Market. Together, they're known as 51st because the local postcodes in the area end in 5 and 1. They're larger than Active Gang, but both sides have proven to be just as savage. It's not clear exactly where the beef started. Some of them grew up together and were cool before the drama, but at some point,
he's the suspect. That's who was cool. He was one of the people that was neutral, and I know I was hearing that Too Smoky went to school with a couple of them or something like that. But yeah. But I heard Too Smoky he ain't even originally from the Grove. That's what I heard too. Like, he ain't originally from there. He's from somewhere else, and he was a little bit older when he moved there or whatever. Maybe I'm confused, but that's what I heard.
They started having problems, and it eventually escalated to violence. According to rumors, it all started over someone getting their watch stolen, but this can't be confirmed. The violence between the two groups started to pop off in the late 2010s. In May 2017, 3 members of 51st were shot by members of Active Gang. Camden police officers were called to the scene of a shooting near Camden Road, but found no victims in the area. About 15 minutes later, they got a call from the staff at the University College London Hospital saying 2 men had shown up with gunshot wounds and were being aggressive. Following the shooting, they managed to run to a nearby hospital to get treatment, but when they arrived, the staff got suspicious and called the cops. Police came to the hospital to investigate, but when the two victims realized what was going on, they refused treatment and tried to flee. They was eventually arrested after a brief chase on foot.
What the? Wow, these niggas tried to run while they had stab wounds in their body. Damn, these niggas crazy as hell. I would have stayed my black ass on that motherfucker. Fuck that. I'm gonna be like, I'm finna die, man. Fuck you need to know for. I ain't snitching, but shit. I'm on this big bro. I need to get fixed first. Shit. Them niggas didn't give a fuck. They running blood probably coming out their shoulder blade, all type of shit. That shit crazy.
Another teen was also later arrested in connection with the shooting and also refused treatment. All three were later charged with suspicion of causing grievous bodily harm with intent for their involvement in the shooting. Not long after, 51st got payback and shot a member of Active Gang in the head with a shotgun. Around 7 p.m. on August 22nd, 2017, police responded to a call about a shooting in the Agar Grove area. But again, when they arrived, they ain't find a victim at the scene. A witness said she heard two loud bangs, screaming, and tires screeching. She looked outside and saw a man who had just been shot in the head. At the time, he was alive, but bleeding everywhere. He then got in a car with two other men and they took off. According to authorities, the man later took himself to the hospital and was supposedly in stable condition. No arrest.
What the fuck type of people? Bro, that's what shows we are incredible. We are incredible humans. Y'all know about a fucking shotgun. They said this man got a shotgun in his fucking head. He's bleeding every month. It's blood every fucking where. It's everywhere. My man's literally gets picked up, put in the vehicle. Motherfuckers doing the dash. My man still up in that bitch. Focus, get me to the hospital, bro. Like, I'm good. I'm good. Like, what the fuck? He's supposed to be dead as fuck. No cap. Glad he survived, but that is the craziest shit ever, bro. I wonder how the side of his head looked after that shit.
Arrests were made, but police believe it was linked to the triple shooting that happened back in May. The violence only continued after a fight at an Airbnb party that left one member of 51st dead after being stabbed 14 times.
I heard about
On February 17, 2018, a 16-year-old girl was having a birthday party at an Airbnb in Kensington. She promoted the party on Snapchat and invited her.
But why would you have it in? She wanted them to be. Them hoes be just loving that shit, bro. They be loving it. And then us being niggas and who we is and shit, we want to, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show this bitch. I don't really like that, you know what I'm saying? Them niggas probably pull up in that bitch bumping. Bumping this shit. Free my little homie Damien, you feel what I'm saying? Something like this recently happened to him too, and he ended up doing 10 years for that shit. He still ain't out too, by the way. He's still in there. Free him though. Free my boy. That shit was sad. But man, that shit crazy.
Around 50 people that she knew, but word got around town and members of rival gangs showed up. A group of dudes from 51st, including a 19-year-old known as Dottie, decided to crash the party. When they got there, they tried to force their way in and cause damage to the apartment. Some guests ended up hopping over a back wall to escape. They came to the party armed, and Dottie had a knife, but one of his friends had a gun. But somehow, they got Dottie by himself and chased him out of the party. He was chased down the road, but was stopped by a huge group. Once they caught up with him, they stabbed him a total of 14 times. 4 17-year-olds and 2 minors were later arrested in connection with the murder. After Dottie's death, members from 51st got in a stolen BMW and drove around different hoods in London looking for whoever was responsible, but they couldn't find their target. So, when they returned to Camden, they went on a killing spree and took out 2 active gang affiliates. The first was a 17-year-old who went by the name AK, who was stabbed to death after being spotted by members of 51st outside an apartment building on Aldenham Street. About 90 minutes later, blocks away from where the first stabbing took place, a 20-year-old named Sadiq was also fatally attacked with a samurai sword on Bartholomew Road. The victim tried to escape in a nearby cab, but the driver refused to take him to safety. So,
see, that shit never did that shit. They should have never did that shit. Once they did that shit, you already know what happened there.
he ended up getting stabbed by the gang multiple times. Police said the 2 stabbings were connected and were committed by the same group of men in a blue van. An 18-year-old was later charged with both murders. According to his mother, Sadiq tried to call her after he was attacked and left a message on her phone saying, "I'm wounded." She also said he was a good kid who was studying business at Middlesex University and worked part-time at Tesco. Sadiq wasn't the only son she had lost to the knife. Her son Muhammad, aka Mitch, was killed the previous year, and her nephew had also been stabbed to death in 2013. They was all
Dang, R.I.P. to her family, man. That is sad as fuck. There's the part that started hitting that nigga like me, bro, because that shit fucked up. And look, you see right on the screen, they were all 20 years old at the time they died. That shit crazy, bro. That is crazy.
20 years old at the time they died. Mitch was also killed in the beef between Active Gang and 51st. On the morning of September 4th, 2017, he ran into a dude from 51st named Eric Eckham, aka Flips, on Hampstead Road. They got into a fight, and Flips ended up pulling out a large kitchen knife, stabbing Mitch multiple times.
How the fuck do they conceal big ass? Because you can look up a samurai sword. Everybody know how long shit. How do you conceal some shit like? Motherfucker not seeing this shit. Like, and a samurai sword is sharp than a motherfucker. Like, how can you stuff that into something and not cut yourself? I don't get it. Let me not even overthink this shit, because this shit low-key will fuck with your head, bruh.
An undercover cop saw it all happen and went and arrested Flips for the murder. He was later convicted and sentenced to 17 years in prison for the crime. All these high-profile killings attracted the attention of the police, who started cracking down on both sides. But that ain't stopped the beef completely. The next attack came in 2019 when an 18-year-old from 51st was stabbed in the head after being ran over. The victim was alone walking by himself along Hampstead Road in Camden before being ambushed around 1 a.m. First,
that's that dugout. That he ain't the suspect. That's all. That's that shit. That dugout. Y'all already know what this is. That right there, that too smoky for that shit go hard too.
He was knocked over by a car. Then the dudes inside the car got out and started stabbing him repeatedly before getting back in and fleeing the scene. The victim was brought to the hospital with multiple serious injuries, including a stab wound to the head. He survived, but the doctor said he sustained life-changing injuries. Active Gang continued looking for payback and allegedly committed another murder.
That shit was so, with T-Scam and Suspect, this shit was so underrated, bro. If you already heard this, family members, you know, because y'all put me on to this, but if you haven't heard this, go check this shit out. If you new here, bro, go check this out, bro. T-Scam and Suspect went crazy on this bitch. And then you got to probably replay it a couple of times to catch that one flow. Everybody know what I'm talking about. That shit fire, though.
Of a 51st affiliate later that year. On April 1st, 2018, a 22-year-old named Calvin Bungisa, aka C-Miz, was murdered by 4 hooded attackers in white masks. C-Miz was chased from Vickers Road to Grafton Road, where he was eventually killed. Surveillance footage from the area showed the suspects fleeing in a dark-colored VW and speeding through a traffic light. The footage also shows them driving to Court Gardens, where police found the car had been set on fire and abandoned. C-Miz's family is from the Congo and fled to the UK to escape the war in their native country. Active Gang dropped a song called Congo, featuring Arms and Too Smoky, which is allegedly a diss of C-Miz. The beef then reached a peak after the murder of a 16-year-old rapper affiliated with 51st named Culprit. On August 12, 2019, a group of 6 Active Gang members was cruising around Fitzrovia and Euston Road in 2 stolen cars. Around 10:30 p.m.
I never heard that song, though. I gotta go back, because I never heard that song.
Fleeing in a dark-colored VW and speeding through a traffic light. The footage also shows them driving to Court Gardens, where police found the car had been set on fire and abandoned. C-Miz's family is from the Congo and fled to the UK to escape the war in their native country. Active Gang dropped a song called Congo.
Active Gang. I gotta go look this up, because I have not heard this.
Featuring Arms and Too Smoky, which is allegedly a diss of C-Miz. The beef then reached a peak after the murder of a 16-year-old rapper affiliated with 51st named Culprit. On August 12, 2019, a group of 6 Active Gang members was cruising around Fitzrovia and Euston Road in 2 stolen cars. Around 10:30 p.m., Culprit and a group of friends left a restaurant on Bolsover Street. They must have seen the group coming because they ran away and hid in the building near Euston Road. About 30 minutes later, the 2 cars pulled up to an estate on Lumford Street and ran into the buildings looking for Culprit and the rest of the group. Culprit ended up getting cornered by 3 AG members and chased to Munster Square, where they caught up to him and stabbed him to death. Apparently, 2 people held him down, while the 3rd member stabbed him in the chest with a huge zombie knife. Both cars were later found set on fire in different locations. Police quickly launched an investigation and used CCTV footage and cell data to track the killers. They eventually arrested a 19-year-old AG member named Arif Biomi in connection with the murder. He was later convicted and sentenced to life in prison, even though he was only the driver. Another AG member named Yusuf was also arrested for assisting an officer and sentenced to 3 years in prison after admitting to helping Arif set the 2 cars on fire. Culprit was an aspiring rapper and football player who had a bright future ahead of him, but he ended up getting caught in the gang life. Before his death, he was also thought to be involved in the murder of a 17.
And they just caught my boys, but, you know, free them. That shit crazy.
18-year-old named Nadeem Biljan, who was stabbed to death earlier that year. Culprit's death was a huge loss to 51st, so they was thirsty for revenge. The incident set off a wave of violence that took the lives of multiple people over 5 days, including innocent bystanders. On September 8, 2019, a 24-year-old man named Wilson Valera was killed in a drive-by near Queens Crescent. Valera was from an entirely different neighborhood and had no affiliation to any gangs in the area, but members from Active Gang thought he was from 51st, so he was killed in the case of mistaken identity. Just 4 days later, a 25-year-old AG member named Asad Yarrow, aka Nuts, was killed outside the Camden Tube station. He and his friend were spotted by members of 51st and attacked with machetes. Nuts died after getting stabbed in the neck. 2 men were later arrested in connection with the murder, but released on bail. According to his family, before his death, Nuts had dreams of leaving the UK for Canada or to start a business in Somalia. But before that could happen, he became a victim to gang violence. The beef between 51st and Active Gang continues to this day with no end in sight. Many fans are just getting exposed to the war because of the rise of UK drill. The popularity of the music has also brought attention from the police, which has slowed down the beef a little. But who knows when another act of violence will lead to a retaliation and set the war off again.
That shit is wild. This is another one that I reacted to right here. I think I'm gonna have to start doing more of these. Look, he got one with Death Row, with Boosie Badass. Oh my God, L.A. Capone. He was cold as fuck too. He'd have been probably better than Dirk if he was alive right now. Then we got the O Block, the downfall of O Block. Called Sliding on Duck. Everybody know who FBG Duck is. If you don't, then yeah, he was a Chicago rapper that got gunned down, you know what I'm saying? This shit was crazy though. But if you did enjoy yourself though, make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's free. Who don't like free shit? Some of this info I already heard. Some of this info I probably bypassed and then heard again. And some of this stuff was kind of new to me. Like I didn't know all that stuff happened in 2010. I didn't know about all that. But I'm out, bro.